It is through getting real with oneself and creating space for a shift in perspective to occur that brings us home to ourselves, where we realize that all of who we are is welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Ah, it's so exciting to have you here. I'm so deeply honored. Um, Thank you for being here. I feel like I'm flooded with so many different emotions. You've been such a beautiful, integral is the word that's coming up, part of my journey. And it just feels like such an honor to have you here. So thank you for arriving here with me and whatever's going to come up for us. I'm just really excited, really,
Samesies,
really excited.
samesies.
Um, if you don't mind, because I know you and I know some people watching and listening will know you, but do you mind maybe just telling us a little bit about yourself, whatever flows through for you? And,
Sure.
who is Kelly Keefe?
Who is this mystery woman? Yeah. Hey, world. My name is Kelly Keefe, and I'm a human walking this planet. And about 12 years ago, I heard the call to look up healing modalities, and I began my healing journey. So I'm globetrotting around this place as the founder of the Heartspace and supporting people in whatever way God sees fit. So this season we do retreats and group programs and one-on-one coaching, and I'm a Reiki teacher and supporting people in activating their healing gifts and essentially just walking with God and committed to being love and being used how God deems fit to do the things. I'm a
Mm.
minister, started a church, I say willing angel, busy wings. So I'm just out here deeply devoted to God and here to do his will.
Mm. You just started a church?
Yeah, low key, that's been happening behind the scenes. Yeah. I
Wow.
heard a year or two ago, like, start a church, and I was like, what's that mean? And then I learned there is a status rather than a 501 or 501c, 501, whatever the nonprofit is. There's
Mhm.
something similar that is a 508c1a. That's a faith-based organization. And there's a lot of perks that come to that in terms of being able to create land without having to follow governmental bylaws and all these different things.
Mhm.
Um, so when it came into my radar, I was like, oh, that's what you were just trying to lead me to this. So I could kind of set up,
Mm.
shop for whatever's to come. And I thought that was it. But then I realized that it's all been like a sneaky loophole to like actually lead me to the space to be like, I'm starting a church. I just had an hour-long Uber ride with somebody from Miami, and he's a powerful brother in Christ. His testimony's powerful. His prayers very potent. And I was like,
Mm.
oh, like, so we exchanged numbers. And again, it's still unfolding, but I'm actually starting to be like, fuck, we might be starting a church. Like, it's still happening. We'll see what it means. I don't know what it
Yeah.
means exactly right now, but y'all heard it here first. It's the first time I'm talking about it in a like out loud way.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah.
so beautiful. That's
Yeah.
so, so beautiful. I feel like especially right now, there's so much that's going on in the world, and I know people have different versions of what faith means to them. Some people hear the word God and have a really visceral reaction in their body. Some people don't believe in God. And this space here of all of you is welcome. Everyone, whether they believe in God, they have their own version of God, everyone's welcome here. I just, watching you walk in your faith in the way that you do really is inspiring to me as someone that is on my own journey of faith. I've just started really using the word God. I don't quite know what that means to me still. I don't know if it's a he, a she, a they, a it. Um, I'm still figuring that out for myself. And I think it's beautiful to have these conversations where we can welcome all of that. And your faith doesn't have to look the same as mine. Um, but it can still just be present. And if it's not present in some people, I mean, I pray every day that people who are in a space of suffering or who feel lost can just find their path back to themselves and back to God, whatever that looks like for them. I think we get so caught up on words, and God holds, I feel like there's a lot of energy to that word. And yeah, it's just something I'm exploring. So
Mm.
it's
You see.
it's just beautiful to just keep asking questions and questioning it all, and allowing myself personally to figure out what does that look like for me. And it is just divinely aligned that I am connecting more deeply with you. I had Lauren and Sebastian on the podcast, and they walk their faith very proud, not even proudly, but um, very humbly is the word, but in a way that's part of who they both are. And I feel like I'm attracting these energies and these people in a more deeper sense for a reason, that I'm like, all right, I'm open to receive, I'm open to have those conversations. So yeah, I just, and I know, I feel in my heart, whoever is watching or listening, if that word triggers you, because I know for me, God, it triggered me for a very, very long time. Um, and if it does trigger anyone watching or listening, just an invitation to ask why and sit with that. And it's okay, you know? Yeah. Wow, we got into it right away. We got into it. I love it. I honestly, I have no expectations, but just knowing your energy and like our energy together, here we are, everyone. Um, okay, so I don't know if you knew this. I hope that you know this. If you're listening to this for the first time, maybe not, but the podcast is called All of You is Welcome. And what I like to do is I like to ask my guests, what does that mean? So you hear all of you is welcome. What does that mean to you? What do you feel in your body when you hear that? Like, all of you is welcome.
Mm-hmm. So there's a space of like a teaching that's been shared to me, and then I go into spaces. There's like two that come up for me. I can't. My teacher filter comes on, and then just me as a human comes up. Where this teaching that's been transmitted to me, and what I believe, take what resonates, leave the rest. But this space where there are multiple parts to ourselves, and it's almost like there's these different characters that are all have residency within our body, and we get to learn how to bring them together. So we have the mind, we have the body, we have the essence, we have the inner mother, the inner father, the inner child, the higher self, and all of these pieces. I probably forgot one. I feel like I just forgot one that's rattling off. But all of these pieces are in there, and they do all have their own perspective, and they do have their own characteristics and qualities. And we get to continue to learn how to bring all together and be a cohesive team. And realizing that there are many parts to us, and it's not simple, where we start to realize my body might be feeling one way today, and my emotions might be completely different, and my inner mother could feel different. And so it was like learning, wow, there's so many parts of me, and forming a connection with all of them, because they are all welcomed, and needed to learn to be on a team. So there's like that immediately pops up for me. And then the space where my biggest thing over the last couple of years when we were talking is like me really allow my humanness to come back into my day-to-day life. There was a season of hitting these new frequencies and this new who am I's, where I started to feel and lose a sense of my own humanness, and the grunge and the grit and the parts that make me also me as well. And so for me, it's been a beautiful realize, like, oh, I can still, be the spiritual teacher and leader and still be human. And like all of that is welcome.
Yeah, I resonate with that very deeply. Because I feel like it can be it's like a tricky dance, right? Like, we have all of these different parts of ourselves, a lot of which, in my experience, not that they weren't chosen, but almost like we have our parents that tell us certain things. We have society, we have maybe religious organizations, whatever. And like stripping away those parts of self that were sort of projected onto us, and coming to that space of like, okay, who am I at my essence? I am made up of all these different facets, and how do I come to a place where I welcome that? And I don't know about you, but sometimes like on this spiritual path, it can get a little overwhelming to remain in that balance of, okay, I know my soul chose to come here in this human body. I am human. I am walking this earth as a human, but also having the knowing and the remembrance, like in my heart, that I am also not of this body. And finding the balance there of honoring the human self while also being the massive soul, angel, light worker, starseed, whatever word feels good for you. And not you, but you in general. And finding a way to honor both, right? And I feel like that's part of where this this podcast comes from many spaces, and all of you is welcome. I feel like part of it is me trying to figure out how do I welcome all of those parts of myself and remain in the human. Are there ways that you do that? Like, are there ways that, because you are this, I mean, anyone that knows you, even if they don't know you, they're going to listen to this. I can feel your energy. Like, you are this massive powerhouse of like just a being. Like, I don't even know how to describe your essence in words, right? And so I know that you know this, right? I hope that you know this. So how do you take that, right? Like this, like, I am this angel here. I have this huge mission that's has all these different parts, and I am a human.
Yeah, it's real. And I feel that's a big part of one. And thank you, mirror. And it's that's I think what's been the shift for me when I'm talking about like me like blending the humanity, where it wasn't just okay, let me just do this now. Like it's been a process because I feel and I witness others in it. So for you, anyone else who may be listening, going through, like, it's kind of part of the process. Because we remember, and the essence is coming so online, and the essence is the infinite potential. And the essence doesn't have a lot of patience for the human capacity of it, because it still just knows again, it's a part of us who has its own personality and its own traits. And the essence is like, we could have done this a million, why aren't you doing it? And that's that nagging voice that can be there. And it's also just like, I don't even want to do this. I just want to dip out. So the essence, its personality has a low tolerance for the human part of it, and it's starting to get them to sync back together. I remember the first time that I was in interaction with Grandmother Moonwalker. For those who don't know, I study under an Indigenous grandmother for the last 4 years, and we do the things. And there's a group of us on this beach. We're doing a water ceremony, and the evening was out, the moon was out, and one of the first things she said to all of us was, "Okay, dearests, now who here is still angry that they're in a human suit?" And a couple of people raised their hands, but I didn't. I did the thing. And then she looks around, and not that many people raised their hands. She said, "Okay, I'm realizing that many of you are still in denial. You haven't even been able to address that that's the issue that's keeping you from doing what you need to do. Let me ask this again, and let me ask your essence. Dearest, who is still angry that you are stuck in a human suit?" And I didn't realize until that moment. I was like, holy fuck. Am I allowed to curse on here? Is this what's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. All of you is welcome, baby.
Cool.
That means the cursing, whatever you want.
As soon as it hit, because I have learned to filter, because certain podcasts, this and that, but as soon as it hit, I was like,
no,
we're
good. We're good.
I was just like, holy fuck. Like, I wasn't aware that I was carrying this anger and resentment, that I was in my human vessel. And then it started to make me realize that that was also a lot of the reason why I was still very ungrounded. Because there was what I deemed, it doesn't come from any any terms of this and that. Just what came to me was, I was like, holy fuck, I was spiritually suicidal. Meaning, it's not that I wanted to leave here. It wasn't a suicidal in the way of I just want this to be over, but I wanted to be somewhere. I wanted to go up so bad. And I was in denial of, but I'm here. And I'm in this human suit, which means I get to go through everything that comes with being a human this go around. So it was really starting to do that, or just addressing that then started to have me really start to work at it and, do this dance with it. And I've now gotten into a pretty good place. Like all my parts are pretty much in a flow. Because there's also so much momentum behind what I'm up to that my essence is pleased. Where it's just like, okay, things are moving. I was just like, if you could have just cooled your tits, like we would have been okay, But yeah, so that's kind of how my process started with it. Was just like realizing, like, holy fuck, I was angry. And like I needed to hear that part of my essence, just be like, yo, I hear you. Like, okay, you're pissed. And we gotta resolve that because we're here.
Yeah. I've had this conversation with quite a few of my friends that are that walk the spiritual path, that are in a space of, okay, I can remember why I'm here. And a lot of us, have to go through that struggle where we're like, it's so heavy down here. Come on. Like, but I think like what you just said is just like honoring that part, like, just acknowledging it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel some sort of resistance come up. However, we also chose this.
Yeah.
I feel like we chose to come down here, and if it was not chosen, maybe we were guided here. However we landed here, we're here. And so finding ways that work best for each individual self to honor the human, because honestly, it's pretty cool. Like it's pretty cool the things that we get to do on this planet that is so giving and so loving and nurturing, and all she wants to do is nurture and provide for us. And it's like coming back to that space of doing that also for ourselves and for the Mother Earth as well. And I think once we get there, like, how can we do that if we're not human? Like, if we're not in our human existence as well? Yeah.
There's so many things we are able to do in our human suit that we don't, like, we wait in line, waiting for the opportunity to be able to come back and do the human thing. Because when we're in just the tones and the one, where we're just light frequency and tone, when we're in the astral, we're not able to eat amazing food. We're not able to have sex. We're not able to get into a fight with someone and have, the friction and the tension. We don't get to feel the sun on, like, all of these things. This is a gift. Like this is actually a reward. And it's, again, we're here for our souls just to grow. It's all, whose line is it anyway? It's all made up. The points don't matter. The whole point is just, we just have a soul curriculum. And it's just, cool, come down, play your part, remember, your thing, and just show up. And the beautiful thing is we have the opportunity to burn through karma. But once we remember, and that's the beautiful part of that season, where we remember, oh shit, there's something bigger than me just being in a human suit. And then it's, oh wow, I have something. So then we get to start to remember, activate all of that, and burn away the karma that we have accrued this lifetime, because we're human. So especially before our remembering, we've probably accrued some karma. So then we get to go through burning the karma out. And then once we hit a space where we're karma free, that's a lot lighter. It's not so heavy. And then it's really fun where we remember, oh my gosh, God has made a plan for my life. And I just have to be the character that God has created and then live an epic story. That's why I love listening to crazy successful people in so many different facets of life. And I would say 9.5 out of 10. I know that you can't really have a half a person, but I was like 9.5 times out of 10. So it needs to be, I can't say 10 out of 10 in absolute, but as close as I can
Mm-hmm.
get to it. One of the first things I always say is, I want to thank God.
Mm-hmm.
There's this connection of they're being who they're supposed to be this lifetime. And as we continue to just, I'm here to be something. Who am I supposed to be? Let me clear up the karma, the stuff that I got caught up in, or I still am getting caught up in, and, this and that. And karmas can be from habits or to activities or this and that. Once we clear that and then we just start flowing, this shit's really fun. For a while, I was like, yo, this is my last lifetime. Like, if you look at all of the life path numbers, this and that, I'm old AF. This could be my last go around. I'm literally just here to teach and beam back and be like, all right, guys, let's get our shit together. Let's go. And for a while, I was like, this is my last lifetime. I don't have time to get involved in dramas and karmas and this and that. So I was like, I just want to have a clean ride, do my time, do what I got to do, and get out. But now that I'm seeing what we're all starting to build, I'm like, I hope I get to come back again and get to experience the fruits of the labor we're all putting in this time. Because all of us at this time, we're not going to most likely see the extent of what's about to be birthed. We are the bridge. We're the bridge generation.
Yeah.
We literally are just that space of we're setting stuff up, and these next generations coming in are going to build off what we're doing right now. And I'm like, man, I hope I'm deemed worthy enough for another lifetime to actually get to experience the fruits of the labor we're putting in.
Same. Because it feels like, whether people listening or watching are aware, whether they have yet to awaken to their essence and remember and starting to walk the path of remembrance, or we're fully awakened and we're here and you're listening to the conversation, you're vibing with us, you can understand. It's all good, like I feel like we're getting a little bit meta here, which is beautiful, and I love that, and that's exactly what's meant to come through. And I also want to acknowledge that, not too long ago for me, I was like sound asleep. Like I was sound asleep, and the waking up was very painful. And so to acknowledge that the process, we're speaking of it in a way that it's so beautiful. Like even that for me, I'm like, it just is at this point, the pain, the sadness, the anger, it's all perfect to me. But I also walked through the fire over and over again and sat in the pain. And so I love how you're saying, like, we are the bridge. Like this generation is the bridge, and we're choosing to walk through the fire and come out on the other side and walk through it again and again until we come to a space where maybe we're in a more, I've been using the word purified. I don't know if that resonates right now, but we're in a more purified space where those that come after us can exist in the harmony that I feel like we're here to bring back and rebalance that and just live in this space of unconditional love, because that's what we literally, that's what we are. Like we are unconditional love. That is, I feel it in my essence. That's all of us. And to be that bridge, I don't know that I've ever thought of it in that way, like on like a personal level, but also on more of like a more collective sense of like what we're actually doing. Like, is bridging that. It's like, I don't even know if it's a gap, but yeah, creating that bridge so that everyone that comes after us can like exist in this space. And what an honor that is.
Yeah, there's so two things, if I may. One,
yeah, of course,
is like, one's a story, but first, like the reminder to everyone out there too, where you are on your, like, one of the really cool things I like about this journey is that, yeah, it's the burning through and the pains and this and that, but it's not even just like, okay, like as soon as we shift and we start to realize like all that's happening now. Like I said, like in our group call, like it's really fun up here. Like there's a lot of amazing humans who are vibrating at this frequency, and we are chilling.
Mm-hmm.
It's available. Like, I live it. I'm so grateful. It doesn't mean I don't have days and this and that, of course. Like, that's been my journey of just feel it in the moment. Like, I get annoyed with myself a lot. That's my quirk, because I always want to be better. I'm a fucking Virgo. Like, it is what it is. So I'm critiquing myself, and I'm looking at how could we find this, this, and this. So there's a lot of being annoyed with myself, but rather than shame, I feel it. It's authentic. Keep it moving. But life is flowing. Life is good. And I'm around a lot of unconditionally loving people. So those who are on the journey, just keep going. One of my favorite things in the world is when I get to witness someone who I started working with, and then just over, it always depends the time of thing. But oftentimes I'll become a pace where then we're just in the same place at the same time. And I'm said, welcome. You're here. You found your way to the tribe. You found your way to this frequency. That's why I always say my baby birds. Like, okay, come on, baby birds. You're going to start to fly in time. We'll feed you, do the things, and then we'll take off and we'll fly. So one, just keep hope, everyone. It's already happening. It's not even a wait till next lifetime to experience it. It's just laying the groundwork. It's going to be a lot faster for all of them because they're born into it. But I was sitting on a rock in Central Park when I was living in New York. I was blessed to live a couple blocks from Central Park. And I remember sitting on my favorite rock, sun, did my meditations and stuff. And I had this realization come through that there's a high probability that I will not be recognized or acknowledged for the work I'm doing this lifetime till after I'm dead. It will, there was this note of it will be acknowledged and recognized, but I'm probably going to be after I'm deader. And honestly, it brought so much relief to me, where it was just cool, blaze on, girl, do whatever the fuck you got to do, because it just kind of took this expectation off of myself, where I was I don't need the accolades or anything when I'm alive. The legacy will live on. The work will speak for itself, and that will be remembered. Maybe me, but the work will be remembered after. And I thought I was going to be really upset with that coming through, but it's honestly such a relief. Where I was just it's not because it's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about any of us doing anything in particular. It's just us carrying our piece for the next, just passing the baton.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was in our Reiki level 2 training, and what Adalia said stuck with me, where it was take the pressure off of yourself. You are just the vessel. This isn't about you. You are the vessel, and you are, and not to use your words, you're carrying you're just doing your piece. We're just, each of us individually are doing our piece, and we walk the same path together, and we come, and it collectively helps raise the frequency. But it's not about me. It's not about you. It's, it is, it's just is it's what we're here to do. And each of us is doing our part, even if we're not aware that we are, it all just is perfect as it is. And it takes off so much pressure, because it can, well, I may not be a Virgo. I have put a lot of pressure on myself to show up all of the time in every space, and oftentimes that involves other people. And I'm so grateful that I am this deeply empathic being, that I just want to help other people. I want to heal, myself. I want to help heal others. I want to really bring this frequency to a place that I feel in my essence of unconditional love. And sometimes it gets overwhelming. I'm just wait, how am I getting, what am I doing? What do I think I'm doing? And I've said this to you, I'm gonna practice Reiki on someone else. How, who do I think I am to do that? That's, I'm taking someone else's healing into my hands. I'm wait a second, this is not, take it down a notch, ego. This is not you. This is not about me. I'm making it about the self, and it's just not about that. And yeah, I can, thinking of you as a person, Kelly, in this human, but as your soul, and us being connected, and so grateful to have connected with you and be in your tribe. Like be a little baby bird that you've watched. You watched and helped to learn how to fly. And I'm still learning to fly, but whether the recognition comes now, whether it comes when you're dead, like, yeah, you're just incredible. And the things that you're doing, just that I know of on like a personal level from knowing you and having conversations with you. But I mean, you were just telling me about the church. I was just with you a few days ago, and like here we are now, and you're like, I might be starting a church. It's like just who you are in your essence and how you just walk this path of God, for humanity. Like it's just, yeah, you're just incredible. I don't know how I got back to there, but clearly I just need to tell you that you're incredible, honestly. I don't know. I was on one tangent and then I jumped the train tracks and I was on another train going somewhere else. So
Oh, it's so good. I receive it. And so, like
yeah.
we were having this conversation a bit where it's just like, hey, like I'm just being who I don't put too much thought into it. It's actually been the less I think about it, the more I do. And I'm just, it's not me, or it really, the more and more I'm just like, all right, do what you got to do. Like I'm so willing to just be used. I'm not putting much thought into it. I don't have any, for a while I had like super set money goals and this and that, but then I was getting in my way. The more that I just continue to say, like, I know you'll provide what I need when I need it. I know you're bringing me onto the track of wealth and this and that and bada 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 bada, and it just keeps blossoming and blossoming, and I don't have to think so much. I think a lot in terms of my logical. I'm a very logical human because that's a super strength, but I'm just being. It really is just I just do. I go where I'm told to go. I do what I'm told to do, and meaning from God, not from the outside. For people who are listening, like just being it, because there's the muse, right? Like I can come through. I love Elizabeth Gilbert. She says that like as a writer, it's never her writing. It's the genius. It's an energy that comes to visit her and she just writes it, and it puts her off the hook. Because if it's something amazing, she can't take credit for it because it wasn't her. But if it bombs, she also doesn't have to take credit for it because it's not her. It was just whatever muse came to use her. So I'm just like, I run on muse and let it come through, and I just do my very best to just keep the muse strictly God. Yeah.
Was there, so I don't want to make an assumption, but like, were you born, like you came out of the womb and you're like, yes. And as you grow up, you're like, this is all of the things that I'm going to do. And I don't overthink because like, I don't want to make assumptions. You could be like that. Cause I mean, knowing you could actually, sorry. This is what happens. Sometimes I go off on like tangents in my own brain and then get lost. We're back here. Prior to being in this space, if there was a before this, like, was there a time period in your life where, and it could be an experience, it could be a time, it could just be a general time in your life where like, it wasn't so much in flow, where there was like some resistance and some, like maybe you were like sitting in the darkness or in the shadows and like you were met with some resistance, and like, did that then like catapult you kind of into this space? I'm just curious to what that looks like, because I want to relate to people, and I know that we are in this conversation. And I tell people, I'm like, it's not always this, like, you might hear these conversations and think it's easy, but it's not, like we all have our own paths to get here. So.
And the resistance doesn't stop. It's not that we hit a destination and then being a human stops. Of course, I had tons of adversity in my home. I completely said, I don't do church. I don't do God. And I was wearing all black and this, and like it hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine. Like I've been through shit. You know, like it's real. Like, I needed to have a lot of lead to be able to alchemicalize to turn into gold. It's a healer curriculum. It is what it is. So there's, plenty of time of my life that I lived in deep depression. I was 250 pounds going into college. Like I wasn't healthy. I wasn't happy. I hated being home. I was in an abusive relationship. Like it goes on and on and on and on and on. So it's been, when was that? 2011 was when I really started to like wake up. Things started to shift in 2008 at the end of freshman year of college. I didn't realize I was, going through, I was going through the weight loss journey, finding meditation. I was being primed for the grand finale of the beginning, So I was in the process of listening and switching stuff and this and that, but I didn't realize and fully consciously know that I had just awoken until 2011. And that's when the work really began. And I'm still in it. I'm blessed to be in a season right now. And over the last couple of years, it's growing stronger and stronger. That is just like, there's just an unwavering in me. And that hasn't always been. But I know that's what I'm to hold right now. Because one in of itself, it's giving hope that it's real. It can happen and it will happen when we just, tend to the work. So there's been plenty of times. And there's times where I have huge waves of emotion all the time. And I can feel deep sadness. And I just feel it. I don't even have to know why. And I feel resistance to doing things. And I, sometimes I give into it. Sometimes I'm aware that's happening, so I'll break through and do it anyway. And sometimes I laugh. Like, that hasn't stopped. It's not if anyone says they're never experiencing resistance or fear or have challenges, like, they're lying. Like, we want to get superhuman. Right now I have a terrible toothache that I'm like, fuck, I really don't want to go to the dentist, but like, it's annoying and it hurts and it's pain. But I can also be here in the light, so it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's not, sorry, y'all. It's, but it's the reality. What's happened for me, I feel, has been a deeper understanding, and I'm at peace. I've gotten resolved. I've gotten resolved in stuff that I was carrying that needed to be resolved. If there was people that I had stuff with, and if we could clear it up, cool, clear it up. You don't need to come back into my life. But I just want to let you know it's all love. I wish you well. There's things that I had to get resolved that I'm unresolved about. I've come to resolve of who I am, and just really hitting this is it, and deepening into acceptance of all that is, see the divine, perfection of it. And the deeper and deeper that I walk with God and I read the Bible every day. And Jesus was coming to me at 5 years old. And I was having deep conversations with him. I don't remember them all. My dad remembers me talking a lot to him. I don't remember, but I was told a lot of shit apparently at 5 years old. And so the more that I'm just saying, okay, whatever you were pep talking me for as a kid and like walking with the Bible, it just continues to just stay stronger and stronger, and life just keeps getting better and better.
It's interesting because first off, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I'm like hearing like little nudges of, if you feel called to share, like, because you mentioned being in a space where you were in a depression, and you've talked to me a little bit about your weight loss journey, and I know some of the more personal things, especially. It's always interesting to me because I've lived this too, where you were in all black and you didn't have a relationship to God, and church, nope, and I had very similar experience. Was there something, and if you don't want to share, you absolutely do not have to. Was there something that happened that transitioned you back into a space where you are walking the path of faith and you came back and found God and you really were like, okay, I need to do that. Like, I'm going to face this and I'm going to heal this and feel through all of this stuff. Um, because I know we all come with our own baggage and trauma that can be really, really, really painful. But yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling called to ask if there was like something specific that like brought you back to the path that you're on now.
Yeah. I mean, there's been waves and it's been a meandering road, especially with my
Mhm.
relationship to like being in the Bible. Like it's really interesting to watch these different seasons where I would go into it and life would start to radically transform and then I would kind of dive back out of it and just to watch the shifts that happen when I'm in the word and I'm like really staying
Mhm.
connected to Jesus versus going on. And it wasn't that like, I went into it and then I really started to go deep into other facets of spirituality and it's been light, but it's just different when I'm in the word. And life has brought me into these different places. I mean, I was working at a solar company with Sebastian, actually. We were knocking doors together, and it was a Christian owned company. And we had an amazing manager, an amazing mentor, Andrew McCall. And he taught us some amazing journaling practices, and he was very religious and, going in, but he was like a cool Christian. And so
Mhm.
through that, I started to be with the Bible more. And that was when the whole hearing the call for Reiki came. And, it was while I was in the Word. And I found Seth, or Seth found me, or we found each other, who was my first Reiki teacher. And one of the first sessions we did, he started to put this, beam me up. And I was just like smiling. And then he just goes, "It's okay to feel." And as soon as he said that, just these huge waves of grief and
Mhm.
emotion started to come. So I don't know if you even know this, but there's a 7
Mhm.
tattoo on my back, and it's from this young man, David. He and I were dating, and I'm going to really nutshell it, but essentially he passed away through an overdose. And that
Mhm.
was a huge grief and awakening. And looking hindsight, he was a bit of a catalyst to my journey. So
Mhm.
there was the grieving of that and this like Reiki starting to move everything and me feeling everything and going through a huge detox of anger where it was really hard for me to be
Mhm.
around family because it was just a huge detox of anger, of all this built up resentment that I had in my body. And it's been this wave and just always gently because, God is so patient. And sorry, I'm not sorry if anyone here doesn't resonate with God. Like, I have a non negotiable. Like, I won't change my language. I am who I am. But, God is so loving and so patient, where it's just like, okay, do what you need to do and then gently get brought back. And
Mhm.
anytime I'm in the Word and I'm with my Bible daily, everything radically transforms for the better.
Mhm. Mhm. Whew. Yeah. Wow. Sorry, I just need to like sit with that for a second.
Yeah.
Um, mm. Yeah, I just recently bought a Bible. I started reading it. I don't quite understand what's going on. Like I read it and I'm just like, okay. And I take notes and I question everything because that's just in my essence. I've always questioned everything. I'm a very curious person. I don't just take things for what they are. I'm like, okay. Um, so it's just to hear you speak about your experience is almost like a confirmation for me because I'm like, oh, I just heard buy a Bible. So I bought a Bible at like 12:30 in the morning one day. I don't know. I was like, all right, cool. I guess we'll read this somehow and just, and for me, I think part of it is like the healing of a lot of the religious trauma that I had through the Catholic Church growing up and um which I know a lot of people relate to, and I just bring it back to, like, God is love. Like, it just is love. Like, God is this unconditional love frequency that wants love and the best for all of us. And anything that says otherwise is not of God. And that took me a lot of my own unraveling. And I went back to church in 2018, to a Christian church, and literally wept the entire time I was there. The reverend was a woman, and I was like, women can preach the word of God. I'm like, what? She's calling God a she. And I was like, and I just, yeah, just the energy in the space. And there was a rainbow flag outside. And I just like sat there, and I was like at one of the most darkest depths of any, the shadows that I've been through. That was probably one of the darkest times of my life. And I came into this place where, and I don't even remember what she was saying, but I just cried. And so to come back where, fast forward 5, 6 years later, and like you said, it's like I weave too, like kind of in and out, where I'm like, okay, I wasn't comfortable saying God. I would say universe. And to arrive here where it's like, okay, where is that resistance coming from? And in the darkest times of my life, and there was a very long period where I also was in a state of depression, and my life was quite literally dictated by my anxiety, and all of my decisions were made from a place of fear. And there was no God present in my life. God didn't exist to me. God was the reason that I was there in that space, or so that's what I was projecting outward. Um, and yeah, I think I'm just realizing in this moment. So thank you for bringing this out, bringing this into this space. Like, a lot of the people that I see who have come from this space of, I'm just saying darkness because that's the word that's coming up, but have come from this space of pain and their own trauma and suffering, and are moving into a space of more light and love. Like, there is a common denominator. And I don't know that everyone I can't say an absolute certainty that everyone says that is God, but there's some essence there that is much greater than you or I sitting here and whoever's listening. So thank you for helping me process all of this right now. And, I think it comes back to the hope part. We're not trying to push the word God or the teachings of God on anyone here. I admire you, Kelly, for how you stand. So you're in your pillar of faith, and you say it to me, you say it to everyone around you, you say it here, like, God for you is a non-negotiable. And if that makes someone else uncomfortable, that you're not going to change how you speak about your beliefs to make other people comfortable. And I truly admire that, because it's something that I am really stepping into in myself, and not just with God, but in a general sense of being in my pillar of my truth and holding that for myself, and not shape-shifting to make the people around me feel comfortable. And these conversations that happen here, like, again, we're just the vessels, right? And whoever this is meant to land with, it will land with them. And it's not about me. This is but it is also partially about me. I'm doing this also for my own healing. And so thank you, because I don't know what just happened, but some part of me was healed in listening to what you were saying and having the space to then also reflect on it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, with pleasure. And for anyone
just really beautiful.
who's listening, where, like, permission to own your truth, like, where I speak very clearly and frankly of, this is what moves through me, and this is what fills me. I'm full in this. And because this is just my truth, I love witnessing other people in theirs. You don't have to believe the same thing as me. I'm not here to convince anyone of anything. I'm just being told this is what's to say, and this is what fills me, and this is who I am. And I love being able to get in conversation. One of my dearest friends is atheist. And it's so interesting to watch our we love each other deeply. We've even talked about where he's like, so do you think, it's like, I've thought about us being able to be a couple. So we've been doing this life thing together for so long, but it won't work because one of my core values is my partner has to have a relationship with God. But that doesn't stop us from having conversations, and I can hear his thoughts and his beliefs on it. And we can even poke fun at each other in a very loving, respectful way of our beliefs and this and that. So a reminder to everyone, the stronger we get in who we are, what we're about, and being able to just be comfortable in it and realize that there's nothing to prove. We don't have to convince anyone of anything. We don't have to prove anything to anyone. We just got to be who we are. The more it allows us to be open to everyone else doing the same. You don't have to believe the same thing as me. I personally love a healthy debate. Like that, like I'm very intellectual, I'm a sapiosexual. Like I love, give me a good, intellectual conversation and a good debate. And, we don't all have to have the same beliefs. And I feel a lot of how my trigger, we've talked about, I'm very aware that I trigger people and I'm prepared to trigger a lot more. It's it's becoming my medicine because I'm not afraid to speak and let myself be a vessel for capital T truth. And a lot of people don't want to look at truth. Truth can be uncomfortable because it's the truth. But truth is love. And the more that we just continue to own. First, it starts with our own truth. And that's a part of the awakening, is realizing, wait, I don't think I'm living my truth. I don't think this is actually who I am. So we discover what's our truth, lowercase t. And then once we get so into, okay, so this is who I am, there's a space for an even deeper, okay, so now I know my truth. This is who I am. And then we have an opportunity to step into live for the capital T truth. So you don't have to agree with anything I say. And in fact, if you have a healthy debate, reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation. People can talk to me about anything. Because I won't tell you what's right, wrong, this and that. I might have a different perspective. Might give something to chew on. But I love when someone can give me something to chew on. And also see if my perspective, wants to shift or not. Sometimes it is. It's like, I don't know everything. So no, that's truth. The truth is I don't know everything. I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah. And I think that I appreciate you saying that, because it can be really jarring when you come to that space of like, wait a second, all the things that I was holding on to as my truth, lowercase t, are not actually my truth. And then you're like, wait a second, so what is my truth? And walking in that path and being on that journey of figuring that out. And I will never be able to fully understand or understand your journey, because we are just different. My lived perspective and my lived experience is going to be different than yours. We could literally be having in the same exact experience and have it's totally different for all of us. Which is so indicative of when we were in the Reiki training, right? Like the different experiences that I had in comparison to the other person there. And it's like, how beautiful is that we can just witness things and we see them through our lens, but it's coming to a place of, again, it's not about us, and detaching from that personal perspective and just having that respect and love and compassion for what the other person has to say. And we don't have to take that on for ourselves. My friend called it, because, we've talked about this, how we trigger people. And she was like, yeah, she's like, you're an activator, like you say these things and you trigger, but you activate something within other people that needs to come up, and it shifts them into this different space. And, I've been sitting with it because she said this to me recently, and I'm like, And then I was like, sometimes it's annoying, but I'm like, okay, human self, like, that's fine. Yeah, we can feel annoyed. That's all good. And what an honor, like, I just am going to continue to be the vessel, and we are going to be vessels for whatever's going to come through. And that's just it, because I think we're walking in the capital T truth, and that is the love. And what a beautiful place to walk in. And if that triggers people and activates them and helps them come back to their own path that they walk on, well, I don't know, just what an honor to do that. Yeah. Wow. What a beautiful conversation. It's so, like, anytime, I've only recorded a few of these, but anytime I walk in, like, I come into this space, and I said it to you right before we got on here, I'm like, I'm a ball of nerves. I feel like all the energy is just moving in me. And what what the people don't see or hear is, before this, we drop into the space and we say a prayer. And I just ask that whoever is here, myself and the other person on the other side of this, we just are clear conduits for what's meant to come through. And I'm always so surprised at what does, because I'm like, what? Like, these are the conversations that I am blessed to be having. And I'm just so grateful for your time and your energy, and that I get to see you again in like a few weeks at your retreat. Just thank you. Thank you so much. Before I close out the space, is there anything else that you feel that's on your heart that you would like to bring forth?
I'm just really proud of you for, showing up and doing the things, and following the guidance of your piece.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I feel really grateful. A lot of people don't know this, Kelly, but almost a year ago, at a retreat that Kelly was a facilitator at, I said, we're going to work together somehow. I don't know how it's going to land, but we are. And so to be here, almost a year later, where you are not only like my Reiki teacher and a guide, but a mentor and a dear friend, and just like soul family, I'm really grateful to walk this path with you. I am so excited. I just got chills in my whole body. I didn't even get to say what I was going to say. I'm so excited to watch your journey unfold. You are stepping into, oh wow, yeah, my whole body's like vibrating. You are stepping into some big magic here. And for anyone that is interested, I will include all of Kelly's information in the description of the podcast, ways for you to connect with her upcoming every piece of information you could need about upcoming projects will be there. I know how you've touched and changed my life, and I've witnessed the lives around you. So just thank you. So honored, and I cannot wait to see how everything continues to unfold for the both of us.
Oh, you hit me. That one hit my. That one had the wellspring of the soul. Oh, thank you. I love you.
I love you so, so much. Until next time, my dear.
Ciao.
Thanks for being here and checking out this week's episode. I am truly grateful for your continued support, which allows this podcast to keep moving forward. If you feel the call, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's deeply appreciated. Until next time, let us continue to hold space for our shadows and allow our light to shine.